Good morning, everyone, on this kind of dreary day. I am excited to present all of you with a fellow speech-language pathologist, Joan Green. Today is May's Coffee with series. And so Joan is going to be talking to us about 10 tech tips that are her favorites that all of us can benefit from. So as you know, I provide executive function coaching for students pretty much in 5th grade all the way through college, through adults. And, you know, this is beneficial for students that maybe have sustained a concussion and are feeling a little foggy or things aren't processing as quickly. It's also beneficial for those with ADHD or ADD. And quite honestly, as a parent of 2 teenage sons, I find that it's beneficial for them too. So I find it's beneficial for all teenagers. One of the nice things, silver lining, I guess you could say, Joan, I think agrees with this too, is that this has really allowed us to do some virtual therapy sessions. And Joan's going to share some great information with us about what you can do, what all your options are virtually. But right now I'm able to offer everything from a virtual platform that's secure. And many of our students are doing distance learning anyway right now. So many of them are familiar with it. So it is a pretty easy transition. So anyway, that's just a little bit about me and Phoenix Speech Therapy. I'm going to hand it over to Joan and let her introduce herself and give us your background, Joan. And hopefully, by the way, everybody have your coffee and tea.
Yes. I have my coffee. You can see I'm originally from Buffalo, New York. So if anyone out there is watching the recording or with us live, just wanted to let you know that. So my background, I've been a speech pathologist for a long time, since the mid-'80s. And I started out working exclusively with adults who had at Fairfax Hospital in Northern Virginia, who'd had head injuries and strokes and concussions, and all kinds of degenerative communication and neurological challenges and swallowing problems. And my practice has really evolved over the years. Fast forward to about, 25 years ago or so, and I started my own business, Innovative Speech Therapy, and I started really liking technology, and as I have 4 children, they're now older and out of the house, although now 2 of them are back right now because I started really focusing on technology and all that we could do to speed up progress toward goals. And I started working with kids also because it's so hard for school speech pathologists to meet the needs of the kids. And insurance started cutting off adults who have aphasia, a communication problem after a stroke. They would cut them off even though they were benefiting from therapy because they had all that the benefit would allow. So I started really using a lot of technology, and now I've sort of become the go-to person, or I like to think of myself that way, to help other speech pathologists and educational psychologists and parents and self-advocates figure out how to make technology help them reach their goals faster and overcome barriers. And as I talk to people about what I do, they say, you're a speech pathologist and you're working on technology and organization and executive functioning. I mean, that is part of the practice of what we do. I don't generally work on articulation and R's and L's and S's anymore. So speech pathologists can do lots of different things. And I'll be talking a little bit in some of the slides about a book that I've written and the different services that I offer. So.
Great. Thank you, Joan, for sharing that too, because I think that many times when someone hears about someone being a speech therapist or a speech language pathologist, that we are just in this one narrow area of working on speech sound production. And of course, we certainly are trained in that and can do that. But one of the wonderful things for those of you that are looking into careers, I think Joan and I would say we love what we do. And some of the reason for that is because there really aren't limitations. There's so many things that we can do. Hi, Bill. Bill
Connor. And there is Better Speech and Hearing Month, so we might as well put a plug into our profession.
Absolutely. So, Joan, do you want to share your screen? Or
sure. I did.
See it.
There you go. All right, great. Well, I'm here to talk to you today about 10 tech tips to make life easier. And I'm going to go through these pretty fast, but if anybody has any questions, feel free to post it in the comments. If you've tried any of these things out, again, post it, share other things that you like. I think we all really need to learn from each other. And a lot of the value of this Facebook Live is that this recording is going to be available for a long time, and people will be hopefully watching it and benefiting from it, even if they can't be with us right now.
Agreed. And Joan and I are going to post it in different areas too. So just in case you're not accessing Facebook through the Phoenix Speech Therapy site, YouTube is going to be a platform. So just like Joan said, that's the wonderful world of technology that we're able to have a couple different options.
That's right. So for about the next half an hour, 20 minutes to a half an hour, I don't want this to be too long. We're going to learn about what's possible, because that's the first thing that you need to do in order to figure something out is learn that it exists. Then I want to really emphasize that we want to set up the environment for success. Many of you might be parents who are trying to help older students who have reading and writing and learning challenges, ADHD, executive functioning problems, or you might be an adult with a mild concussion or some problems. Or really, I think all of this information is good for everybody. And I use all of these tools every day. And I think it's just how we can be more efficient in life. So I think that these are good. And I also work a lot with seniors who are trying to keep their brains sharp and learn new things. So I just think these tools are fantastic, and everything that I talk about is free and relatively easy to implement. So, I mean, I've written 4 books on technology and how to make your life better with technology. And today I'm just picking 10 things. And it's also very important to remember that you're in control. A lot of people are just feeling that, we have all these Zoom meetings going on now, and we have all these notifications, and it's hard to focus because everything's online, or kids are playing games online and driving you crazy. We just have to remember that, we need to set our own limits or limits for our family and use things wisely. And we are in control of how we choose to focus our attention. So a lot of this is psychological.
That's a good point, though, Joan, setting your own parameters. And I think the other thing is it's a win-win. Like you said, it's free and it's going to help you.
Right. So the first thing, my first tech tip is that you need to limit your own distractions. So before I started this session with Amy, I turned on my Do Not Disturb on my Mac. So I'm not going to go through exactly the step-by-steps of how to do everything, but you should know it's possible to enter a Do Not Disturb type mode on every device that you use. Even if you're using, a Mac, a Chromebook, any kind of tablet, everything can be put into a Do Not Disturb mode or a mode with enhanced privacy.
Will that work on the phone too?
Yeah, absolutely. So, on my iPhone, I would just, sorry, trying to get it in here.
You got it.
Swipe up from the bottom, and then there's a half moon image, and I would select that.
Okay.
And you can set up your controls on all of these phones so that you have instant access to see all these things.
Great.
The second tech tip that I have is that if you hear about something that you're interested in exploring, do what the kids do and go on YouTube and put in a few keywords, and you can teach yourself how to do things. There are so many bloggers and video producers out there that have created step-by-step video tutorials. And I do this for my clients all the time. Mm-hmm. It's easy to do a screen share. And so with the help of visuals, if you type in something, you could even type in a full sentence. How do I enable privacy controls or do not disturb on my iPhone 11? Or how do I use, do not disturb on a Mac? Just put in these words, and then you can look through some of these videos and teach yourself how to do things. This is what I do. I attend so many continuing education sessions every day. My kids are shocked at how many videos and meetings and webinars I participate in every day, because I make it my business to know all the latest with all this tech. And then I teach. When I grab onto something that I think can help people, I teach myself how to do it, and I compare it to everything else I know. And then people think I'm this expert, and it's just because I know how to teach myself things. It's constantly changing, so it's hard to keep up with these things.
Right, and that's true too, especially right now, if you do have a little bit more time. YouTube is always accessible, whether it's a computer, tablet, or phone. I know my boys love YouTube, so.
Or just search on Google and search for videos. I like videos. I learn best with those.
Depending on what type of learner you are, right?
That's right. That's right. My husband would much rather read about something. So I like watching videos, and he likes reading. Everybody's totally different. So the tech tip number 3 is dictation. And this is huge. There are a lot of people out there that don't realize that if you have difficulty with spelling or staying on task with writing, or you might have dysgraphia, you might have arthritis, and it's difficult to use a keyboard, you can just talk and have it type what you say. It's not really a magic solution, but it's a really good solution. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. I'm in my demo account. I'm not in my real account. You can have multiple Google accounts. And they're available for you whenever you log into the Chrome browser on any computer.
Okay.
I have a whole G Suite course that I teach. But I'm just going to open up a Google document, which is very much like Word. And what you'll notice is that this is free. You just have to have a Google email address. So, maybe use a Google Calendar or Google Maps. And what you do is you go to where it says Tools. And so if I select Tools, it's going to automatically enable something called voice typing. And it's a little slow right now, but here we go. Every device these days, whether you have an iPhone or an Android phone or a Mac or a PC or a Chromebook, you can dictate for free. But one of my favorite ways to dictate is that you select Tools and then go down to voice typing. And this has been out a few years now, but a lot of people don't realize it's there. And then all you do is I'm going to click this and start to speak. Now everything that I say will be instantly typed on the screen, period. It's amazingly accurate, exclamation point.
So 2 quick questions. One is, when you're doing this, you would have to provide whatever punctuation at the end of the sentence that you want to do. So that's a little bit different for people that have never dictated, right?
Right.
And then the second question is, I know you're in Google Docs, but this also would work in like MS or Microsoft Word, right?
Yes. Yes. It's a little different. What I would do is I would just type. Well, it depends. It depends if you're on a Mac or if you're on a PC. If you're in a PC, in the bottom left corner, you can just go to Cortana and say dictation and make sure you enable dictation. And then you just, I think you press the Windows and then H. I haven't done it that way. There's a keystrokes that you do to enable it. You can also, on your phone, if you want to do dictation, where if you look at the keyboard that you use when you might text, or if you have the Word, Microsoft Word app or the Google Doc app, or anywhere that you want to type, there should be a microphone, and you just touch the microphone and you can dictate.
Yes, I see it. Okay.
So there's sometimes when I might want to work with somebody and they have an old desktop computer and they're working on a Google Doc, and they don't have a microphone, because laptops have microphones, but not all desktops have microphones. And, I work a lot with seniors, and a lot of them have big desktops that are older. But they often have new phones. And so I might say, well, let's download the Google Doc or the Microsoft Word app on their phone if they have Microsoft Office 365. And then you can look at the keyboard and just touch the microphone and start dictating. and you'll see the writing showing up on their big monitor on their desktop.
That makes
so
such a big difference. I mean, just what you're saying. Can you clarify for those that aren't familiar with the term dysgraphia, what that means and what sort of difficulty someone might have with that?
Right, dyslexia or dysgraphia, it's a language learning disability. And so sometimes people know what they want to say in their head, but when they go to, I'm really simplifying this, but when they go
it's fine.
out, they just can't, they get stuck. But yet if they're able to just talk, they can say what they want. Often students with these kinds of challenges still have difficulty organizing the information, and you may benefit from a visual organizer. I mean, I'm just really, I might actually do a whole course, to how to use technology to help people with dysgraphia and dyslexia. But right now, I just want to I don't want to get too into the.
No, I didn't want you to go down that, but I appreciate you sharing those terms because. In our world, we use them very, all the time. But I think sometimes if people hear that, they're not quite sure. But this is one of my favorite tips that you have shared because it makes such a huge difference for so many reasons. So thank you so much for showing us step-by-step how to do it.
And it's amazing, if you have a heavy accent, it might not understand you real well. And there are some tips and tricks or other products that might handle it better if you need to customize it a bit. Okay. But the more you enter punctuation, the more accurate it will be. So you could say, I bought 2 bananas and walked to the store, period. My brother wanted to come too, ! It will know how to spell all the different twos.
Oh, that's a good point.
So you really there's an art to dictation. And I think usually within a couple of visits, I can share best practices with a family or with a student and help them really have more success. And then you go back through and you can edit it by hand.
That's great.
All right, so.
And we have some comments thanking you for your helpful tips. So I think all of us are thrilled whenever technology works in our favor, right?
Yeah. My pleasure, Mary and Nikki. Text-to-speech will be tech tip number 4. I want everyone to realize that any updated device that you're working on, any kind of smartphone or tablet or computer, text can be read aloud to you. So you can have PDF files read aloud to you. You can have books read aloud to you. Again, I have a whole course on text-to-speech. It's not that simple. It depends on what platform and what you want to read. But I'm going to show you one easy thing that you can implement. This is a doc that I have, my program I call TWIST, Technology with Innovative Speech Therapy. And this is Microsoft Office 365. And if you go under the view mode here, I realize it's small because I'm sharing the screen here. If you go under view and then you go to, I have a small screen, so I'm not seeing the option, but here's immersive reader. So all of Microsoft Microsoft products have become much more accessible lately. In the last couple of years. And so they now all come with Microsoft, with this immersion reader. So I can select text and have a word read aloud.
Assistive.
Or I can select, it can just keep on reading, or I can select a whole paragraph. And this is just free and included. And you can also have, I'll show in the bottom here,
or you can customize.
Google, Apple, and Microsoft. Computers, tablets, and smartphones, and other helpful devices.
It also has a picture word dictionary. It's all for free and included in Office 365 under the View menu. You might have to initially download it, but a lot of people don't realize all that Microsoft has done. Google started way ahead, and I think Microsoft is catching up.
But I think you hit it on the nail just than when you said, most people don't realize all the features that are out there, and I do. I think it's overwhelming if you're not a tech savvy person, but all of us are becoming more tech savvy in this current situation. Right. So may as well take advantage.
That's right. That's right. I mean, I've been so into tech for a long time, and I've been trying to encourage people to embrace technology to overcome barriers, and now people are being thrown into it.
Right.
So just trying to help people not be too overwhelmed. So the next point is colorful folders. And so there, a lot of the students are using Google Classroom now, but even for people who are at work, working from home, just finding a way to stay organized, or parents, maybe if you aren't working at this point, or just anybody who's not working, just to help you organize your life digitally so that you have access to your important information from anywhere. I think that it's important to embrace, uploading information into some kind of cloud-based thing, whether it be Google Drive or Evernote or Microsoft OneDrive. I mean, there are a bunch of them. They have different features, but I think just to organize folders using color, and then to keep documents in folders. And
Joan, so I hate to interrupt you, but do you see the question from Allison about?
Oh, is text-to-speech in the Google Suite too? Yes. So there are different ways you can download different Google Chrome extensions from the Google Chrome web store that will enable you to have text-to-speech for free. There's a particular extension, Read and Write, for Google Chrome that I really like, where that feature will stay for free forever. That's my top pick for that one.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm gonna, here in Google Drive, most of them are like this, where you click on something to create something new, and then you can name a folder. And then often you can either right click or two-finger touch on something to see another bunch of options. So for example, if I right click on this with my mouse, I see all these different options, and then I can pick a color. And so I really like to color code things. And I think that helps people stay organized.
I think so too. I know with the students that I work with now, they are a little bit older, but even so, even students all the way through adults, I certainly use color folders as well, or a binder with tabs just for some sort of organization. I think that's so important for someone that is working with executive function skills. So seeing that there's an option virtually is huge, because I knew about the folders, but I didn't know you could color code them. So thank you for sharing that information.
And if you want to get fancy in Google Drive or some of these others, you can also assign tags or labels to different folders or documents. I mean, you can really go to town with this. I'm about to launch a program called 30-Day the 30-Day Tech Savvy Challenge, or something like that, where I haven't announced it yet, but I'm going to within the next week, where it's sort of a journey together, and we help, and I map out what I found to be my most successful way of helping people embrace all of this in a meaningful way, and using it in real life. So it's not just busy work, but they're really getting their own life organized. And the summer is a great time to do this. And there's so many students that have, I mean, some of my own kids, they don't have the jobs that they thought they were going to have, and camps were canceled. I think everybody's looking for activities. And so I'm going to launch this as a family activity, or something to do with a parent. The last time I ran a course like this, my parents both took it. And just step by step, because this whole world of Google and digital stuff is new to everybody.
Well, and I think you bring up a good point too. Certainly the folders and organization are helpful for students with schoolwork, and certainly helpful for those of us working adults. But I know that I've used organization strategies for adults who are trying to become more efficient with their household, whether it's budget or chores, or advanced directives, those sorts of important papers. So I definitely think that it's beneficial for everyone. It can be used for all types of different avenues and things. And Allison gave you one more question.
Yep. Do you know if you can organize incoming emails into folders? Yes. You can go under settings of Gmail or other email types. Gmail is the most popular one, but there's Outlook and everything, and you can set up a system so that if information is coming from a certain person or has certain words in it, you can act on it in a certain way. So you filter certain things and they can go skip the inbox altogether if you want them to and go into a certain folder. Or there are lots of different ways to set it up. And it takes time. I mean, I had a client that I was working with that just had thousands of emails. And so that was a goal of the week. And I gave a step-by-step approach of how to sort of manage the inbox to help be efficient with that. And I'm going to give some other tips with that.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. I think we're going to run out of time here, and I'll probably just talk some things through. Google Calendar. Most people are familiar with a calendar, a digital calendar. And so there are a lot of folks. Sorry. All right. There are a lot of folks that use paper calendars, and I did for a really long time. And then I said, well, we've got to come up with a way for an alternative so that you always have your calendar with you. You might want to share events with other people. And what if something happened to your calendar and you lost it? So I think if people, my calendars, this is just being very slow, but let's see. If I open up my calendar, and if you use Gmail, I like the whole Google world, and I use Gmail. I think because I'm in presentation mode, things are just slow. But you can sync your calendar with your Gmail, with a to-do list called Google Keep, which I'm going to talk about, and Google Maps, so that if you have an event that you're adding to your calendar, you could put in the address and then just click on it, and it will give you step-by-step directions on how to get there, and it can even give you a notification of when you need to leave.
Even better.
Time, and if not these days, but if there's a traffic jam or something and you need to give some extra time, it'll even let you know.
So it's a built-in time management strategy that you and I would use anyway, but now this is all connected.
That's right. And so they're all connected here. And I in a G Suite course that I gave, I tried to get people managing their calendar, managing their email, and all these different things.
Great.
So just embracing the calendar, and you can have multiple calendars. So every person in your house can have their own Google Calendar, and you can choose when you see it or not. If you have to, sometimes I help schedule appointments for one of my kids or one of my parents, and I want to see what their schedule is like. But I don't have to clutter it up all the time. I can decide when I want to see certain things. My tech tip number 7 is timers and reminders. And I think that I use them all the time because I get so focused on something, time just goes by. And so you can get an app like Time Timer or a physical time timer that shows you the sweep of time that a lot of people don't have, students, because they don't see the clocks so much. Or you can, on your phone, you can just swipe up and you can see a clock, and all of the digital clocks, or many of them now, have built-in timers so that you can get, even if you put on your do not disturb, if you set a timer or an alarm, those will come through.
That's good to know, I think, because I think some people have that concern.
And then also, if you have, we use the Echo Show, the different ALEXA devices. I don't want to say the name because she'll start asking questions. So we have an Echo. I mean, I have a lot of these different smart devices because I'm just enamored with them. Ugh, I woke her up. And so a lot of times I'll say, I'll do it now. I named this one Echo. Echo, remind me to check the oven in 20 minutes.
Okay, I'll remind you in 20 minutes.
I don't know if you can hear that, but she said, okay, I'll remind you in 20 minutes. And when I'm cooking a big meal or something, I might have 10 different timers and reminders going at the same time. And you can even have different users with different voices. I mean, you can really get into that. Tech tip number 8 are bookmarks and shortcuts. So sometimes we have all these different apps or websites that we've learned about to help us be efficient, but we forget that they're there. And so sometimes you'll see on the top right, I've split my screen. I have little below where I type the URLs, the email, the addresses. I have all these little icons, and those are actually shortcuts or bookmarks. And so in Chrome, I can just select the star, and then you can also organize. It bounced me offline. It's interesting. It says not connected. I think my computer's going a little crazy, but you can just give yourself reminders of the different tools you have and put them in order of use to help you be productive and efficient. So
I think that's a really big one, because I know myself, if I don't do that, then I'm wasting it all this time searching for it, looking for it. If it's bookmarked or organized, like you said, it's just so much easier to just pull it up.
And instead of one particular site, you can have folders. So I can have a folder with different resources for speech pathologists. You know, for different aspects of your life, you can arrange folders with different bookmarks. And then video calls. These days, you know, a lot of students and parents and seniors, everybody, we're all doing all these video calls. Some are meetings or webinars, and some are just to talk because people are lonely. And I think that it's really important in this time of isolation that everybody stay connected. I know that, you know, not everyone has computers and smartphones. My mother-in-law doesn't. And so, you know, I'm very immersed in this world of seniors. And so for her, she has the Alexa Echo Show. And so you can do drop-in. And so you can even use the Alexa app on your phone to do a video call, you know, from device to device. And so we do it to her Echo Show from our phone. And she loves seeing people because she doesn't see people all day, you know, so these are a lot of the options. And I'm actually going to be hosting a free webinar in June, reviewing all these different options for video calling, because there are differences. And I think that they're critical right now for mental health.
And they may go on for a while. That's the thing. You know, so.
Yeah, I think a lot of this stuff is going to stick. You know, right now it's a necessity to livelihood and education and well-being, and people are going to choose what they like and what they found helpful. And a lot of these tools are really helpful, and more efficient ways of doing things. And tech tip number 10 is Google Keep. And so an example. I use Google Keep all the time, and I'll just show it to you real quick. Actually, it's not connected, but what this is it's a to-do list. And so I have an image here. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just make this part bigger since the other half isn't working. So you can make a list, a checklist, and I put down some things to do, and then you can check them off as you get them done. And there's some tools at the bottom where you can share a list with somebody else. So it's perfect for grocery lists. You know, if my kids want something to be on the grocery list, I'm like, put it on the Google Keep. Don't tell me, you know. And you can rearrange things, and you can, you know, you could put a list of questions you want to ask a doctor, but maybe you don't know when you're going to see that doctor again, so you can't put it on your calendar. So what you can do is put the name of the doctor at the top, and then you could have a GPS-based reminder. So when you're at the office, it'll show up for you. There are a lot of really clever ways that you can use these things.
Yeah, and I want to just share that everything that you've shared with us does not sound overwhelming with regards to learning how to do it, really. I think some of it's just kind of practicing, right? Just kind of.
Absolutely. I tried to pick things that it would be pretty easy to figure out, you know. And then I have one, Maggie, hi. Maggie. One last tech tip I added, because I couldn't limit it to 10. It was really hard for me because I think so many things are so helpful, and to limit it to 10. So I added a bonus. And this is, if you right click or two-finger touch onto a touchpad when you're using Gmail, you can snooze an email and have it show up again at the time of your choice. So it's really very helpful. So you'll see a choice that says snooze, and then on the image there, you know, till later today, till tomorrow, or you can pick a day and a time. so that you don't have to constantly be rewriting that you want to act on an email at a later time. It'll just pop up there for you. And so
Kind of a reminder.
Free feature that's there.
Yeah, that's great.
So it can help you get through your emails a lot more efficiently. So those are the tips. I'm just going to promote a couple things. Everyone is welcome to join my IST Tech Savvy Solutions Facebook group. All you do is, it has a couple questions and you just answer them, why you want to join the group. I just am trying to keep out spammers. And so that's one thing I wanted to make sure everybody knew about. This is also my book. It's the 3rd edition, Assistive Technology and Special Education, and it's only $20-something on Amazon. It's sold in a lot of different places, but for some families that might not want to hire me one-on-one for individualized help, because that does get expensive, even though I usually say most families I help with just a few visits. I don't do ongoing long-term speech therapy anymore. It's really 1 to 5 visits is typical for me, just to set up technologies. But this book hasn't been updated now in 2 years, but it has a lot of fantastic information in it. So if you just want to be on your own or just join some groups for free, that book is helpful. And then any of the courses and webinars I do, you can learn about from my website. And on the bottom right, there's a little thing that says, let's chat, and it pops up, and you can pick a day and a time for a free mini consult with me. So I usually do about 4 or 5 of those with people all over the world. And that keeps me on my toes, because if there's something that people want to know and I don't know it, I try to figure it out. So this is the last slide of, I have a way for you to get a copy of all these slides, and I think I took it out. I have a cool thing that I'll show you next, but these are just different things that you can do to learn, for next steps. And then let me go back to get out of this presentation mode, because I have a number that you can call, a text. And I forgot to do the captions. When I'm in presentation mode, let me just show you this really quickly. I think this is taxing it too hard. I did it before. If you're in a presentation mode with Google Slides, you can select captions, and usually it works to just automatically start captioning. But for some reason, it's not working right now. But that's really nice for people with auditory processing problems, or ADHD that might tune out a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And certainly, captions can help people as well who are a little hard of hearing. I like captions in general, but I want to thank you while you're finding that.
I'll put it into the comments. Yeah. What I set up is there's a way that you can text a number and write the word technology, and you'll get a copy of a handout with all these slides if you think that'll be helpful for you.
Yeah. Because I think it's like what you said before. Some people like to read everything through, right, and some people will like to maybe replay this video. So I want to thank you for all your time and thoughts and your experience really for what has worked, what's been beneficial. I know that I certainly have learned a couple tricks from you, and I certainly appreciate it. As we said before, all of these can be beneficial for any of us, whether you have a diagnosis or you don't have a diagnosis. I think we all benefit from strategies to make our days more efficient and for students to become more independent. So Joan and I are on the same page with regards to let's make sure our kids are able to be independent and have strategies to rely on so that they can leave our houses and they can be in a good spot and they don't feel overwhelmed and they don't feel as stressed as they need to be,
Right. And just try one thing at a time.
Exactly. So, so we certainly appreciate all the interaction during this video today. If you're watching this later and you have some comments or thoughts or questions that you want to post, please do so. And Joan and I will take a look and certainly respond back to you. If you want to get in touch with Joan, she's going to send some more information in the comments so that you can receive the slides in like a reading format. So she'll have all of her information. Again, she's with Innovative Speech Therapy. If you need or want to get in contact with me, I'm with Phoenix Speech Therapy. Similar to Joan, I offer a free of charge consultation initially just to talk about things, because sometimes this can feel a little overwhelming. And our jobs as speech pathologists are to make it more achievable and less overwhelming. So, Joan, do you have anything else you want to share?
No, I think that's it. But I hope that everyone is doing okay out there. I know these are really rough times, and we're all in this together. So we'll do what we can to figure our way through it.
Exactly. Well, thank you again, Joan, and everyone.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next month. Bye.
Bye-bye.